Okay, here's an intro video for an extremely cool property. Uh, Probably the only property possibly the only property we've ever had. Definitely the only property at Fiery Fork Ridge that borders the Niagara River as well as the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. So really unique property. It's also the biggest tract at Fiery Fork Ridge. It's 21 acres. This is it right here. It's tract 19. There are 20, I believe 25 tracts at Fiery Fork Ridge, and they range in size from an acre up to, well, 21 acres, this being the largest one. So the west side borders the gravel easement road. I'm sorry, the east side, the entire east side borders the gravel easement road. And then the north side, this shaded area is the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. And that's a conservation area in Camden County where the property is located. It's about 1,600 acres. I'm told it's open for hunting, for additional fishing. It's got about a mile of river frontage that the Fiery Fork Conservation Area does. And this property has direct access into that because it shares a border. Now, if you look here, you'll see that the borders don't quite match up. In reality, they do. It's just that the overlay from this map is just a little bit off. But most of this north side borders the conservation area. The entire west side basically borders the Little Niagara River, which is a beautiful river. Flows into Lake of the Ozarks just a mile or two downriver. This has about 550 feet of frontage. Generally, the river is actually very clear, so I would guess that this aerial was taken after a major rain when it was stirred up a little bit. But every time, with the exception of one time after a major rain, when we've been down there, this is a very clear river. You can see the fish. Nice area for floating and canoeing and just kind of hanging out and relaxing. Let's zoom out a little bit first. We'll show you the. There's so much to see. Unfortunately, this might be kind of a long video, but there is just so much to see on this. Okay, so you see all the red outlines. This is all Fiery Fork Ridge. It's showing the 25 tracts at Fiery Fork Ridge. You can still see the little purple arrows apparently pointing to the property we're looking at, which is tract 19. So this is Highway J. Let's go way out. Why not? We'll go way out and we'll have a good look at this area. Oop, maybe if we'll go to Street Map. Got kind of a poor internet connection here. And as it loads up, there we go. So this interesting looking lake you see is Lake of the Ozarks. Very popular lake. The most popular vacation spot for vacation homes, I believe, in the United States. So that's Lake of the Ozarks. Camdenton down here to the southeast is the big city at the Lake of the Ozarks. So a couple ways to get to the property. The way we generally go is go north through Camdenton on Highway 5, cut west on Highway 7, then you're going to go south. This is Highway J. Zoom in a little bit there. And by the way, this shaded area is the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. So we've gone south on Highway J. Let's switch back to a Google map. We're using the MapRight program, which is a great free program you can get when you go to view the property. If you get the free app, we can send you the link for this exact map. And when you go out there, you can load it up and have it. It's really handy. MapRight certainly will try to get you to subscribe, but you don't have to use the basic service. Okay, so as we're coming to the property, we take Highway J about a mile or two, and you'll be going west onto the gravel road. You'll see this little church here, and that's where you'll go west on the gravel road. And actually, right about here, the road splits, and you'll stay right at the Y. It's kind of funny if you zoom. You'll see it when you're out there. But there's basically two parallel roads that you can see that run right next to each other. The one on the east is the farmer's driveway, and the one on the west is the private easement road for Fiery Fork Ridge. So stay right at that fork, go down the private road. You'll see a little spur road that goes off to the west. That is for property owners. That goes to the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. So that's another way you can access the Fiery Fork Conservation Area. But to get to the property, just continue going south. The MapRight app will help you a lot if you have it. And you can see as we get closer and zoom in, we've got some small meadow area on the east side of the property. It looks like when this Google photo was snapped, there was someone that had a camper or an RV out there, probably for the weekend, to kind of check it out and enjoy it, I would guess. This property was leased for a while. and it just became available, which is why we're putting it on the market. So the majority, 95% of the property is wooded, but you do have this meadow area on the east side. Um, it then slopes down to about the middle, where you have a small creek bed which crosses the property and goes in and feeds the river. And then as you continue going west, it'll slope back up again. Um, and actually up right up here, I believe, is the highest, although we can switch to a topo map and check that out. There we go. So this kind of the northwesterly area of the property, this is the highest, where it's basically flat. We actually walked up there and took some photos, and I think even a short video. It's just gorgeous. I mean, talk about a one-of-a-kind building site. You definitely have some money into getting a road up there, but it certainly could be done. So you'd have the view of the river. You back up to that conservation land, so you have use of over 1,000 acres of land for hunting and hiking, and so from there it goes down steeply. On a topo map, if you're familiar with them, this will make some sense, and if not, it's probably just confusing. But each line indicates an elevation change from line to line of 20 feet. The thicker lines are just showing basically every fifth line is a thick line, so then it's easy to see the 100-foot changes. So from the lowest point on the property where this little creek bed is up to the, let's say the bluff on the west side, we're looking at about 120 feet. So that's what gives it its view. And actually the highest point is the meadow on the east side. So from this meadow on the east side down to this little creek bed is about a 200-foot elevation drop. Some of it is fairly steep, some of it is not. I mean, if you wanted to put a driveway in, you have more than enough room to go diagonally and do that. You can kind of see this area here. If you look at the topo, that's kind of indicating somewhat of a draw. And so there could very well be a couple springs in there. We haven't walked that to check it out. This shows a live spring here, which actually bubbles up out of the ground. That's on the common area. So that's not on the property itself, but it's very close to the property. Let's go back to the Google map here. Whoops. Oh, this internet is so slow today. There we go. Okay. So you come to the property, you've got the meadow area. So, I mean, I believe you have to be 100 feet off the road. I'm not sure about that. We'll double check that. But, I mean, you'd have some potential building sites here in the timber where it might start to drop a little bit, or possibly something more level on the edge of the meadow over here. But the cool thing about this property is because there's an access road down to this common area, so you go past the property, go past Tract 20, and you'll see an access road that shoots off to the north. Because that goes right down and actually goes all the way to the water on the common area, that gives you some additional access to your property. So the road actually, if you follow the little hand, which I hope is showing up on the screen, it goes down here. We're going down a hill, and right about here it cuts back, and then at some point it leaves that boundary. It starts going like this. I mean, so you've actually got vehicle access toward this bottom part, although this is not a maintained road, but certainly with the four-wheeler or something like that, you'd be okay. There's a little gate up here. We're happy to give the code to property owners, but it's a good way to access various parts of your property. So super cool property. I mean, feel free to go out and explore it. Having the common area right there gives you a nice place where you can kind of hang out and camp. You do have the over 500 feet of river frontage. This is priced much, much, much less per acre than anything else we've ever had on live water in Missouri. That's because, I mean, it does have the 550 feet of frontage, but it's pretty steep. I mean, it's really steep. So we've actually walked this part. There's kind of a little level area at the bottom here. We were able to walk most of it. But as far as building right on the water, you probably have to build up a little bit to make sure you're high and dry. Although, now that I said that, that's one other thing that's really cool about this property, and we can look at it on the MapRight app, is we can actually turn on the layer that shows where the FEMA floodplain is. So most river properties, if they have direct frontage, a good portion of them will be in the floodplain. On this particular property, I just turned on the floodplain, so that's the bluish area, and it's showing basically none of the properties in the floodplain. Now, I would certainly argue that where this creek bed runs through, you do not want to build anywhere near that, because that will get water at some points, probably quite a bit of water going through it. But, I mean, 95% of the property is going to be high and dry, and you could safely build there. So yeah, stunning property. This is the only one we've ever had like this. So if you've been looking for something special, this is pretty cool. Nice and private. This easement road actually dead ends at tract 25, so you'll have basically no through traffic to speak of. Only property owners are allowed to use it. That keeps it nice and private. Gorgeous, gorgeous property in a gorgeous area. Everything we sell with seller financing. You can check out our website at InstantAcres.com to see if this is still available. Or you can give us a call in the office, or you can email us at sales@instantacres.com. We would love to hear from you on this huge tract of riverfront property. InstantAcres.com.